real reality of traveling at a young age, especially as someone that's still in college and full-time business owner, has multiple rentals that pay him, that literally funded this trip, is that you realize how blessed you are to be in a country full of opportunity like the United States. As someone that, ancestors from Mexico, currently in Ecuador right now, I'm currently in Ecuador, you kind of take a lot of the shit that you have for granted. Essentially almost everything. I think most people are in situations where they don't realize how blessed they are in the country that they're in until they're in a situation where they leave it. And most people never leave it. I'm just having a conversation with this guy from Canada because he was on this tour. He was on this tour with us, and he was telling us how crazy it is to hear about what's going on in the United States, especially being Mexican. And in reality, I kind of hate to have the perspective that most people don't like to hear, but it's when you need to hear, it's everything is in your control. In your control, right? In terms of what you can control, what actually matters, right? A lot of people worry about stuff that they cannot control. And at a young age, that's the worst thing you can do because you have this victim mentality. And I posted a video not that long ago that went somewhat viral. I guess I had almost 100,000 views. A lot of people were calling me a victim, calling me a slumlord, and it kind of made me laugh. I think I'm in that point right now where I genuinely do not give a fuck. Some people say, I don't care about how people perceive me. I don't care how people say what they say about me, but they do care. I genuinely do not give a fuck. A flying fuck. And the reason why I think that's got me in a position where I'm at right now is because I could look dumb for 6, 12, 2 years, 12 months, 2 years. And a lot of you are not willing to do that. Most of you are not. And the problem with that is that when you're not willing to do that, you're in a situation where you're also codependent on people's, not even necessarily just emotions, but their opinions, right? When you're codependent on other people's opinions, I promise you, you are in the most vulnerable state you could ever be in, and you don't even realize it. And that's something that opened my perspective when I came to these countries, because I realized that a lot of people aren't codependent on other people, but they simply just don't have those opportunities. So you're in a position in the US where you have those opportunities, but you're codependent. So these people are hustling. And if they could do anything to fucking trade life with you, they would. And I wish that this video would just be your wake-up call when you're traveling to other states. If you just have the right perspective, the other countries, and you just have the right perspective upon it, that you go and push harder in the US all the time that you're in there. And this trip was definitely one of those. Being in a situation where, the person that was the captain on the boat that we were on was the same age as me. And that's the highest paying activity they could potentially be doing besides, going to become a doctor, go to school, but they don't have that type of money. And I kind of sat with that for a little bit as I was sunburned as fuck, literally still sunburned as shit. And it opened my mind to it. I think when you create a business that allows you to travel, you have an income that allows you to travel, whether it's, you're in sales, remote work, travel to one of these countries, ASAP. It will push you a lot harder, because you realize how blessed you are. Not necessarily for the things that you have, but the opportunities that you have. Because the blessing is not always in the things you possess, it's also in the opportunities that you have presented to you. Because most of those opportunities, even just a couple miles out of your own circle or a different county, they don't have those opportunities. And you may think, they have Wi-Fi, they have connection. Just because they're not in the same county with you, they don't have the same information they consume. They don't even know that the opportunity exists. How do you want someone to go and perform an opportunity they don't even know exists? Most people don't even know what the hell I do for work. So that's just goes to show that even though you could do crazy things like this, where you're traveling at 20 years old, people still don't know what they don't know. So if you even have the baseline knowledge of being able to know how to make money online, get the fuck out, just travel. You don't need to move out of your hometown. A lot of people say that you need to move out of your hometown, burn the boats, all the above. You're not making a crazy amount of money. Honestly, does not make sense. You're making 10K a month. They'll go spend fucking 3K a month on, rental. For rent. It's already 30% of your income, not considering taxes, other expenses, miscellaneous, and emergencies, right? But back to what I was saying about having the opportunity presented in front of you, you really realize not only that you are blessed in those opportunities, but you're in a situation that it's not necessarily how hard you work at all. Because most of these people would whip your ass at what you do. And the reason why I say that is because you're in the right vehicle, or you need to get in the right vehicle. If you look around behind you, people working, hustling, but unfortunately they're not in the right vehicle. And what I mean by that is being in a position where you're in a high-tech sales job, you're in a setting position, you're running online business, you're investing in Section 8. I'm investing in Section 8, so this really week that I was here, I really didn't even work, bro. Still collected our rental payments from our tenants, but that's because I set up these foundations by having the high income skills. I looked at the kid and the captain, saw myself because I understood this person was a hustler and they want to get things done, but they're not in the right boat. I want you, like, you need to genuinely look at your situation and realize, am I rowing as hard as I can? But not only am I rowing as hard as I can, am I in the right boat in the first place? Because you could be working harder than most people in your situation, most people your age, most people that go to the same school as you, go and live in the same city, but you're not in the right boat. It does not fucking matter. There's someone that could work a quarter of as hard as you are, but they're in the right boat, so they can make double what you're making. Someone that's a real estate agent that has been in the industry for 25 years can work as half or even a quarter of as hard as you do working at McDonald's, but they're in the right vehicle and they're in a situation where they're in the right position. You're probably, oh, like, it's a lot easier said than done. It is, but it's simple. You don't need a degree to get into sales. You don't need any of that. You don't need a degree to start investing in Section 8. You don't need a lot of money to start investing in Section 8. You don't even need fucking credit. Coming from someone that 20 years old, college student, every single possible excuse you could think of to be like, oh, I don't have enough time. And I'm doing it. And I don't say this to be in a piece of shit that says, oh, like, you know, have survivor's guilt. I mean, survivor's, what's the word for it? I forgot what the word for it is, but we're basically saying that you survive some sort of opportunity, you kind of feel like not feeling bad for people, like, oh, like, if I did it, you could do it too. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say it in a way that, honestly, I shouldn't even be in this position. You know, I come from immigrant parents. Father didn't even have fucking papers when he got here. I'm in a situation where it wasn't even like their first language. And that goes to show that as long as you are able to reallocate energy in the proper manner where it could just be redirected and you're not in a form of just sitting idly, because I feel like as a man, if you're just sitting idle, that is the fastest route to just fucking crumbling and falling, because if you're not growing, you're dying. Like, as a human being and just a business owner in general, like, if your business isn't growing and your personal life is not growing, it's dying. So not only is it being as hard as, you know, rowing as hard as you can, but being in the right boat, but also being in a situation where you're not sitting idle, because like I said, I don't mind is the fucking closest thing to literally just falling apart. I promise you, it's literally just so close. But now that I look back at, you know, the last year that I've had, I realized that it was mostly those three components. How long am I rowing? Am I in the right boat? Am I in the right position? Am I investing in the right things? Am I setting the right foundations? People always talk about, you know, the right cultures, but also just genuinely being present. I think that was probably the biggest thing for me. That was like the hardest thing for me this trip, was just being present and not trying to like always be working. I had obviously texts I had to respond to, emails I had to respond to, but trying to be where your feet are. That's something that I've always struggled with. I've also experienced a lot of, you know, altercation with other people that have struggled with it. But trying to be where your feet are, it's probably the biggest thing you do. And that is one of the reasons why I've tried to invest in Section 8 as much as I can, and why I continue to do it and helping other people do it, is because when you're in a situation where you have guaranteed rent coming in every single month, you really don't worry about needing to work so hard, and you're able to be where your feet are because you're not worried about, I need to go make money, because the money just comes in no matter what. I mean, as long as the government puts money, you're making money. So when you're traveling like places like this, make sure you're in the right boat so you can go and do it more often. Open your perspective to the idea that some people will come and whip your ass if they had the same opportunity. So be grateful for that opportunity, because the blessing is an opportunity. And alongside that, be in a situation where you could be where your feet are. And the only way you can be where your feet are is by being able to flip your brain and saying, hey, look, I'm working. If I'm playing, I'm playing. But also setting the foundations so you could have something like passive income, where, you know, you have a Section 8 rental, Airbnb, whatever the fuck you want to do, and you're not worrying about, you know, paying your credit card that month or making ends meet that month, because it's passive. It's coming in. Obviously, not everything's 100% passive. Yes, semi-passive. It's mostly semi-passive, but it's more passive than you going and physically working all the time. So set your foundations, travel, have the right perspective, get out of your hometown just to experience the world. It doesn't cost that much. You may think, oh, I don't want to spend that money, but there's a price and there's a cost to absolutely everything. The price of $300 does not outweigh the cost of being closed-minded, because you've never left out of your hometown and you're always in a situation where you only rely upon the things that you've seen. Because most of the things that you're going to see when you go and travel at an age like this are not things that you necessarily need to be re-taught or taught in general for the first time. It's mostly things that you need to be reminded upon. I believe a lot of the time we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, because most of the time it's things that you already know. It's just different perspectives and different ways that you're being seen it. You're seeing it through different stories, different people you see, different activities around the world, and different ways that message is relayed, right? Like I said, being out here traveling, a lot of things that I saw, like the young cat that was working the boat, that was the captain, it wasn't necessarily anything I need to be, re-taught or learn for the first time in terms of perspective and being appreciative of what I have, but it was a reminder saying, hey, look, you could have been born in a different part of the world and your life would be completely different. But it also goes to show that, like I said, are you rowing as hard as possible you can? Are you in the right boat? Because, like I said, not only me being in a position where I'm in the right country to have that opportunity and being blessed for that, but I can also be in the right country and still struggle because I'm not in the right boat. So there's three things you take away from this video is being in the right boat and rowing as hard as you can. Alongside that, opening perspective to going and visiting different things, because you need to go and get reminded in different ways outside of the country, because most of the things you're going to see are going to be repetitive. If you live in the same state or same city, you do the same things, you make your money online, you don't actually experience the world, you have no trials, no tribulations, no perspectives, no stories, and your life is very short-lived. You don't want to be having your whole personality, your whole lifetime value or just existence relying on your fucking bank account, how many numbers are in it. Because at the end of the day, you can't take any of that shit with you. Yeah, you can leave it to people, but most of the time, you're gonna only be in situations where you could leave things in people, because you could, yes, leave them money, but if you don't leave the right things in them, they could just go and lose it. What's more important than generational wealth is generational habits, because if you're not in a situation where your children or your descendants or your spouse have the right foundation set in place by the things that you do, that they learn from watching you, not from actually hearing you say it, then you're going to be in a situation where all that wealth that you work so hard to create is just taught 5-10 years after you pass. So those are the takeaways out of this video. Like I said, get to 10K a month as fast as you can, or just any sort of income level where you're in the right boat. Make your money, stack it, be in a situation where you're in the right boat, you go and experience different perspectives, set the right foundation so you can have your passive income, so you're not stressing so hard or needing to feel like you need to work all the time and you're not being able to be where your feet are. And if you want any help or just want to hear about how you can invest in Section 8 so you can have the passive income to live life like this, have trips like this, and you want your first Section 8 rental guaranteed for you within the next 90 days or your full money back, just click the link down below or shoot me a DM with S8 and I'll help you out. But I appreciate you listening to this Yap Sesh. Or if you just want a full guide, a full breakdown on how you could potentially do that yourself, I made a full video on that. You should DM me and I'll send it over. It's a full breakdown, it's a full masterclass of exactly what Section 8 is. You can see what makes sense for you. And then, yeah, appreciate you watching the Yap Session. I want to give while I'm obviously in a position where I'm still in Ecuador traveling, but I appreciate you, and be on the lookout for more content soon, because we ain't stopping this year.